SPMP サイドストーリーくんねちぷ。
Previous overview. When Yukakima arrives in Porokoden, he learns about the situation from Kunasiapu's grandmother and learns of the whereabouts of his parents. He stayed overnight at her house and then left for Odanupukoden the next morning. When he leaves the house, I asked him to tell my sister that I'm going to be fine, but I'm worried that I'll be able to see my sister. It's a long way to Odanupukoden, and that house is inconspicuous, so he might pass by without noticing. But I feel like Yukakima will do something about it. I'm more concerned about the purpose of people of the Wajin. I don't understand the meaning of priestesses and countries, and I don't understand the act of cutting down trees and digging a big hole in the ground. Also, I can't forgive Susa for putting my parents and sister in danger. I'm worried about my grandmother, and I'm going to stay here and do what I can. First of all, let's go to the place where the people of the Wajin used to cut down the trees, and then go to see the state after that. But my grandmother will be against it, so I have to act secretly. When I tried to leave the house around noon, my grandmother told me, "You can't go out of the Koden for a while," but I didn't obey even if she told me no. I have a way to use the loophole, and I can get back home right away if I just look at it a little bit. I go quietly and come back quietly. First of all, I act in a hurry. It took me a while to get to the place because I was hiding so as not to be seen, but once I arrived at the landmark riverside, I was able to move quickly. When they reached the place where they had cut down the trees, they found that the forest had cleared of much larger areas, and the holes dug into the ground were deeper and longer than they had been when they first saw them. There was no one around the hole, but I saw a few figures in the forest beyond it, so I hid in the shadows and watched the situation, and there were several people in the depths of the forest, and I heard the sound of something being tapped. The river flowed almost straight from where I was to the sea, and the holes they were digging were being dug sideways from the river. I've heard before that everyone is having trouble with the flooding of the river, but does that have anything to do with that hole? Even so, there are fewer people working on it than the last time I saw it. For the time being, I'm curious about the newly created Koden, so let's go see how it goes. It's a little far to the new Suji, but I'll just wait and see, so I can get back to the house before dark. The distance from where I am to the beach is close, and when I reached the beach, I called out to Tanu. Then, after calling his name a few times, I saw Tanu's dorsal fin on the surface of the sea and came towards me. So I asked Tanu how he was doing, but he didn't know what was going on, and I was a little worried when Tanu said at the end that the ocean may cease to be an ocean. But now I have another purpose, so I said goodbye to Tanu and headed to Suji. And when I arrived at Suji, I was surprised to see that it was different from the last time I saw Koden. There was a wooden wall surrounding the Koden, and it was impossible to see inside from the outside. From the outside, all I could see was the observation deck, and there were several people on it looking at me. They just watched silently as I looked at the wall in amazement, and they just looked at me the whole time I was leaving. I really wanted to see the inside of the village, but I couldn't. Scared. It was the fear I felt when I saw someone bleeding and collapsed in a fight with adults for the first time, and the ferocity of the Wajan came to mind. Today's story ends. The continuation of the story will be updated tomorrow. Please look forward to. If you like, please subscribe to the channel. See you again.